I'd like you to look at, if you have a copy of the bill either before you or on your computers, this is in the section of law that allows for exceptions to our current moratorium on hospitals. Now, by what I can count, we have 19 exceptions that have been made since the moratorium has been placed and offered to other entities to expand beds in the state of Minnesota. Now, I want you to please place special focus on the existing statute. We have 19 exceptions. 19 exceptions that every single one of these exceptions don't have more than 2 or 4 lines in statute. And all it basically says is we can make an exception of the moratorium for either relocation of hospital beds, the construction or relocation of hospital beds are operated by a hospital. Sometimes they ask for additional beds. Sometimes they're updating a wing of a hospital. Sometimes they're building brand new hospitals. And we're simply recognizing in law and deferring to a moratorium that's already in place that a new hospital could be met. That we as the legislature know about it and we're allowing it to occur. But let's look at the new language that we're voting on now. 36 lines. For the Maple Grove Hospital, it's 36 lines of detailed criteria that we recognize. We recognize workforce development, for crying out loud. No other provision in state law does that. Why don't we repeal all of our exceptions to the moratorium so that unions can have a say in how our workforce development works in those exceptions, those 19 other hospitals? Why is that? We've gone to extraordinary lengths to satisfy the needs of criteria, primarily the community's needs in health service, and we even made mention of workforce development and a commitment to quality care and patient safety. You know, we don't even have that written in any of our other law in the state of Minnesota. I'm kind of surprised we don't, but then maybe I made a mistake in including this in this law, making a reference to it. Maybe we have to have a whole new chapter of law just to define what commitment to quality is. I don't think we need to do that, but when we start recognizing the need of a community, and this could be any of your communities, this could be any one of yours. Now, I'm a little uncomfortable when I only have 2 lines saying, yep, we heard it, you're good to go. We can do better than that, and I think we did do better than that in making specific reference to services and quality, recognizing the needs for once of our local political units reflecting what they think as they represent their communities as well. I think this is a good blend. It's a step in a furthering and bettering of hospital placement in the state of Minnesota by recognizing first a broad view of what health services should be for that region, and as well as giving a nod to the local community to say, yes, we may have some specific references of what we would want. There's nothing wrong with having a shared interest and a commitment put into our statute books of what we want that hospital to be. That's the difference between this bill and the 19 other exceptions in law. We spent 36, we critically wrote 36 lines directing the establishment of this hospital. And I know this goes further than just whether or not we want to extend it to a date certain. We all know, I want the public to know back home, that there's a union concern, some collective bargaining thing going on somewhere else. It's not in Maple Grove, but it's involving a corporation that is wanting to help construct and build this critical health resource in my community. Now, I've been endorsed by unions, believe it or not. Some of you Republicans don't know that, but I've been endorsed by by major union groups over the years off and on. I am not any enemy to any union. I believe in collective bargaining. I believe in the right to strike. That is paramount. It's sacrosanct in my perspective. I was raised in a blue-collar suburb, Crystal. Senator Rest knows Crystal very well. I'm no country clubber when it comes to my Republican affiliation. I'm very sympathetic to union causes. But this is not the time and place to bring a union and management debate going on about some collective bargaining discussion somewhere else into this, to hold this critical health asset for our community hostage for some other issue. And I want us to think about this very carefully. I don't think in the last 100 years in the modern union movement that this has ever taken place in the history of Minnesota. Once we open up and make our body a lever for union negotiations, Katie bar the door, it'll happen every single year. And to my union friends, I would say these bodies aren't always strong union. There also can be strong management. And we don't want management issues to come into the legislature and hold a member's bill hostage either. That's why we have put rules and laws allowing collective bargaining to take place. And I think we've done a pretty good job in protecting that right. We have management, whether it's government services that hire union workers. We have issues coming saying, let's take away their right to strike. That'll get them. Well, I'm not going to go there. I never have gone there. I've never had a public record of allowing and repealing the right to strike anywhere in my history. I am a little saddened that union representatives and presidents didn't bother to talk to me as a chief author about their concerns. I could very well be very sympathetic with their concerns, but there is a little decorum that we should have, a little courtesy to say, we got a problem, could you help us? That didn't happen either. We just have the ambush today. And of all things, a hospital that's, the whole purpose is to exercise healing arts in taking care of both body and soul. I find it to be improperly placed in this discussion, to say the least. You all have been elected. I know we all have our obligations to our supporters. However, in this case, I want you to carefully think of what door you're going to open in a Pandora's box if this motion is accepted. I hope you carefully understand this. I'm going to urge you to resist and vote against the Dibble amendment. The reason is that it's not an amendment, it's a motion, by the way, to resist the Dibble motion. This bill has carefully been discussed for more than 15 months. It's been a rather abusive process, and it's one that I don't wish any one of our members to go through. However, in those 15 months, not one labor union has ever come and talked to me about this. It's only a last-minute deal. I suppose they look in their big catalog or computer and say, what critical thing can we hang up in order to get our way somewhere else on the other side of the universe, but it just doesn't belong here.